There are efforts to reduce the property taxes. Guess what happens when you reduce property tax? Let's see, what districts are funded by property tax?
School districts.
School districts.
Library.
Most special districts, fire protection districts, library districts. You have all you have all kinds of entities in our society that rely on property taxes. And I understand that people feel like they're overtaxed on their property taxes, but at the same time, if we keep dropping property tax down and still expect the level of service that we've grown accustomed to receive, or we want better service, I'm very, very concerned about what's happening in our K-12 schools right now. If we don't come up with a way to fund those, if we're going to reduce property tax, we have to fund them. And so the way schools work is there's a local share and there's a state share. And so when the local share drops from property tax, then the state has to pick up the difference. And of course, we know because of our constitutional restrictions that the state's budget is in a terrible bind. I mentioned the $25 billion funding hole for K-12 education. So if we keep reducing property tax and we don't have a solution at the state level, then schools are just essentially going to be without funding. So I'm very, very concerned about that. We have 3,000 vacant teaching positions in Colorado today. We have the lowest competitive salaries of any state for teachers. In Greeley, teachers can go from Greeley up to Cheyenne and land a job making $15,000 more a year. Why would they teach in Greeley if they can get that difference in pay? I mean, this is what's happening. We're letting things erode, and there will be efforts, I think, on the ballot in November to reduce property taxes. It sounds enticing, but you have to think about what's the impact of that, and how do we solve our other funding problems. Oh, I just mentioned BEST. This is that infrastructure problem that we have in the state of Colorado. And we've got a $15 billion infrastructure problem in the state of Colorado. And the BEST program started over a dozen years ago. It's Building Excellent Schools Today. That's what BEST stands for. And it's an effort to try to solve health and safety problems. So let me give you an example from Greeley. Okay? I taught at one junior high. The other junior high had asbestos falling on the heads of students and teachers every time it rained. And the district, are you needing to hook me?
Pretty soon.
All right.
We're going to give you the hook.
You're going to give me the hook?
You're fine.
Okay. Anyway, the bill was going to be $9 million to fix that roof problem. And the BEST program came in and said, listen, if you can raise an $8 million bond, we will match it with $21 million, and we will allow you to build a brand new building. So let's see, what do we want? Do we want the same old tired building that had asbestos falling down, and we're going to spend $1 million more? Or shall we just get rid of this health and safety eyesore and replace it with a brand new building? And that's what the BEST program did. So we had a $29 million new middle school built under the BEST program. The problem is we've only been able to address about $2 billion over 12 years of the original $18 billion funding hole. So we still have a lot of work to do, and that's what we're working on. But I have some ideas for my second term around an infrastructure bank that would actually meet the proportion of the problem that we have. It's not a new idea. Nevada has one, Indiana. So these are not, Democrat or Republican. It's a combination. These are just solutions that work.
And where does the money from the BEST program come from?
So we actually issue debt, and the debt gets paid back with interest. The taxpayers fund that. So we have investors that want to invest, and they want to invest in a reliable source. We use COPs. We can't bond unless we go out for a vote of the people, but we can use COPs in this process. And I am not even going to begin to start to explain what a COP is, because I know I'm about to get the hook. But it's a way to issue debt that works within our Constitution.
Some of the marijuana money go there?
Some of the marijuana money does. It was $40 million a year from the marijuana money. And I mentioned that the original hole was 18 billion. Math teacher, how many years will it take you to pay off 18 billion, 40 million a year? The numbers are enormous. The answer is
Yeah.
450 years. So yes, we said we'd solve the problem with marijuana money, but not in our lifetimes. So we've got to come up with solutions that fit.